Am I audible to all? PPTs are visible? Okay. Now, in this lecture, we are going to see the last topic of your syllabus, taxonomy of computer organization. That mainly we are going to see the multiprocessor, that is a RISC and CISC processor, which is we are going to study. Already we have studied the single processor, that is uniprocessor, pipelining ALU, parallel ALU. These already you have studied in the third unit itself. Now in the fourth unit, multiprocessor and parallel processing, which is we are going to see. In that mainly two types are there, RISC and CISC processor. In short, which is we are seeing working of the RISC and CISC processors and difference between these two, which is already we have seen in the previous lecture. Now in this lecture, we are going to see in a depth how this RISC processors is going to work. Now RISC is nothing but reduce instruction set computers. Long form of this RISC is this. Now whenever we are saying that the RISC processor is there, in that your syllabus it is mentioned that the what are the characteristics of the this processor, multiprocessor. So instruction execution characteristics, which is mentioned in this diagram, where first characteristic is high level language. So in the processor, it allows programmer to express the algorithm more concisely. That means in the high level language, we can write down that particular algorithm. We can write down that algorithm in a very good manner in the high level language, which will be we can run on the RISC processor. Now next one is it will be allow the compiler to take the care of the details that can be imported in a programmer's express of the algorithm. So it is going to allow you to express this, use the programming skill and implement a various algorithm in a form of the expression is allowed. Now other thing is that it is going to support the naturally the use of structure programming or as well as the object oriented programming, which will be allowed in the high level language, which we can in terms of the instruction execution characteristics of the high level language on the RISC processor. Now next thing is that the next characteristics, that is a semantic gap. What is the semantic gap is in between the high level programming language and machine language. That gap, how it will be overcome this gap, which is explained here. So this gap is nothing but the difference between the operation provided in the high level language and the operation which is provided on the computer architecture. So difference between these two things is nothing but the semantic gap, and gap is nothing but the symptoms of the gap which will be aligned to execution of inefficient excessive machine program size and compiler complexity. All these gap will be overcome with the help of this semantic gap. That is nothing but the in a high level language we can all these concepts are going to provided, and through that we can overcome this semantic gap of the RISC processor. Now next characteristic is operation performance. Here operation performance is determined by the processor, how this processor is going to interact with the memory, how much time is required, or what are the different functions which is used for the uh, performing this task, which is nothing but the operation performance of the processor, which is used for the RISC processor. So here it is written that it determine the function to be performed by the processor and its interaction with memory. Now next characteristic is operand use. So operand is nothing but the for example, if you are writing the instructions in that number of registers which is you are using for the storing the value or loading the value, or you are using for the performing some operations, which is called as the operand on which we are going to operate, which is called as a operand. So what are the operands are used, the type of operand and the frequency of these their use determine the memory operation for the storing them and addressing modes for the accessing them. So for this to use these different operand, we have to use that particular operand frequently, and it will be determine, or it will be tell us the memory utilization or organization of the processor, and that will be done with the help of the addressing mode, which is we are accessing for them. That is the next characteristics. Now next one is execution sequence. So in the execution sequence, it will be determine the two things. First one is the with the help of the control unit, and second one is a pipelining organization of that particular processor. Depending upon that, execution sequence will be decided. Now control unit is responsible for the controlling the all operations which is we are executing on that particular processor, and pipelining organization is going to organize each and every instruction execution in a parallel with respect to the particular processor. That will be done in the instruction execution characteristic. Now moving to the next part of this processor, how we can implication means how we can implemented in the high level programming language that RISC processors are used. So first one is that in that high level languages can be the used for the supporting by the optimization of the performance of the most time consuming feature, like in a high level programming language it is going to use. Optimization means the best of the solutions which will be minimize the uh, execution time in terms of the performance, and it will be a less time consuming features should be used, which will be applicable in the high level programming language. How it will be implemented in high level language, that will be decided. Now the three elements which is used for this for the implementation of RISC processor, so the, which is mentioned here in this PPT. First element is use large number of register or use compiler to optimize register uses. So we can use the large number of registers, that is a it is uses a 32 up to 32 bit registers are used, or number of registers are more, and we can use the compiler to optimize that register uses. Means how can you utilize each and every register, that will be decided with the help of the compiler, the high level language. Second thing is careful attention need to be paid to the design of the instruction pipelining. That means the instruction pipelining will be provided, the multi-level pipelining should be provided, where we need to design the instruction pipeline very carefully in the high level programming language whenever you are using. And last one is whenever instruction is going to use, and that is going to predict the cost and that consistence with the high performance implementation. That means the whatever the instructions you are using, that will be give you the high performance of the implementation of that particular instruction. That is the three element characteristics which is used in a RISC processor whenever we are using the on that processor high level programming languages. Now next one is whenever you are using the large which we have seen that in the previous PPT itself, the large number of registers, first one, the large number of registers are used for the register files. Then what is going to happen in the high level programming language whenever we are using the processor? So registers store the faster than the both memory as well as the cache. So registers are temporary register which is a directly available on the processor, so it is going to store the faster value than the both main memory as well as the cache memory. So we can, because of that, we can use the large number of registers which is used for the storing the file. Now next thing is that the register file is physically small. On that same chip we can have a arithmetic logic unit and control units are there. Then for such units are there, in that shorter address and shorter addresses for the cache and main memory is going to provide it. Through that we can use the small registers, small value of that register files. The next thing is that whenever we are allowing to use the frequently to access these registers, the operand which is we are kept in the register file, it will be minimize the register to memory operation. Register to the memory operation is nothing but the from register to memory we are storing the data. It may be a main memory or cache memory which is we are going to store. So depending upon these, two basic approaches are possible, which is implemented in RISC processor. That is the one. First one is software solution approach, and second one is hardware solution approach. Now, first one, so in the uh, use of register, first one is software solution approach. In the software solution approach, registers, uh, which is used for the RISC processor, which will be required the compiler to allocate the all registers where they are located. So require compiler to allocate the register. So how many registers are there? For example, n registers are there, and it will be allocated to the compiler for the allocation of the task. So NC is nothing but the compiler registers. Like this, we can allocate the in a software solution that is required. Next thing is that allocate the based on the most used variable in the given time. So for this register, whatever value we want to assign, that value should be assigned within a given time. That is the next should be done in a software solution. Third one is if you require a state program analysis, that will be done with the help of the software solution. It is easily possible. But as compared to the software solution, if you go for the hardware solution, in the hardware solutions, we can use the more register as compared to the software solution, because in software solution, number of variables which is used, that is nothing but the number of registers which is used for the particular program. And if you use the high level program language, we can use the less number of variable and reuse that variable n number of times in the, so less number of registers or variables are required in a software solution. But in hardware solutions, we can use as many as register which is available on that processor easily. Second thing is that more variables will be in a register. So whatever variables we are declared, that will be available in the register. So if you are declared the 100 variables in the software solution, so that many registers will be allocated for the each variable. It is allowed in the high level programming language if you use hardware solution approach. Now, whenever we are generating the registered window, the what is going to happen? If you use the large number of register, that should be decrease the need of to access from the main memory. So if you are having the large number of register in the processor, which is going to hold the current value or current result of the processor. So from that processor to memory or memory to processor, if you want to extract the data, it will be reduce that, decrease that particular access or reduce that extraction timing, because of this huge number of or large number of register which is going to hold the current result of that particular program. Now next thing is that whenever we are designing any task, that should be organized with the help of the register in such a fashion that so that we can achieve the real goal, so which is required for the uh, increase the performance of the system. Now whenever we are using the, most of the time we are using the operand and references are given. So for that, all references may be a local references which is you are going to use, or the depending upon the procedure call or return value you are going to use in the your program. Depending upon that, it will be a use for the register window also. Now, whenever we are using any register window, the parameter register is going to use that window is divided into the three fixed sizes area. First one is the parameter register, which is going to hold the parameter passed down from the procedure that called the current procedure and holds the result to be passed back up. So in that, the register is going to pass that value and it is going to hold that value also until it is not going to clear. Second thing is that the second part is local register, which is used for the local variable as assigned by the compiler. And third one is temporary registers are used to exchange parameter and returns with the next lower value. So this will be a current procedure call on that the window size is divided into in these three parts. Now, whenever we are handling all possible patterns of calls and returns, the number of register windows will would be to be unbounded. That is, no boundary value is defined for that window register. So because of that, it is going to hold the most recent procedure which is we are activated on the processor, and it will be stored on that processor operations on that the registers window. Now, moving to next, how these register windows are going to overlap each other's value. As I said that this total part is called as a register window, and this register window is divided into the three parts, which is I have explained in the previous slide. That is a parameter registers, local register, and the temporary registers. Whenever we are going to call J, for example, this is a J is a one instructions which is we are going to call. So that window values are stored in like this fashion. Parameter are stored in the parameter register. Local values are local variable values are stored in the local register, and temporary result execution of the previous instruction result is stored in the temporary register. Whenever we are calling any instruction or process, that time the that is call will be done depending upon the parameter registers. What are the parameter which is we have passed for the next level instruction execution, and according to that it is going to return the results. So these temporary register results is overlap with the parameter register, because this is a level J is a first instruction, you can say that the, and level J plus 1 is a second instruction, where in a window register temporary register which is going to hold the current instruction addresses or value which is stored, then that value is going to assign to the parameter register for the according to whether we are going to call that process or return the value to the that particular parameter register, it will be decided. So these two blocks are overlap in the register window, as register window is having these three parts, so it will be overlap. Any doubt till any doubt, students? Any doubt? Okay, now moving to the next, circular buffer organization overlapping window. So in the circular buffer is going to organize for the overlapping window. In that window, which is we are saying that the uh, procedure is going to call or it is going to return the value. So initially, if you consider the current window is going to point here. So current window is pointing here. So what will be a next value? For example, you can say that the D register is there. In that local variables are going to store. So next one is C register is there, where temporary register values are stored. Next one is D register is there, where parameter register values are stored. Then again local C register, local register value. Like this, it is going to maintain the all data in the form of the local variable, temporary variable, and the uh, parameter register value, which is going to stored here. So whenever this is going to call, that means procedure is going to call, that means it is a going to call on that particular processor. That means it is going to restore after performing its operations, which is mentioned here. So procedure is calling, that is a nothing but it is saving on the with the help of the window pointer. and returning process is nothing but it is going to put that data into the particular memory location, which is also mentioned here. Like this circular buffer organization of the overlap window is going to maintain. See, if you observe that initially in this current window, D register is used for the local variable storage. But in the next phase, it is going to use for the D is used for the parameter register value storage. So this is nothing but it is going to overlap that value. And here C register is used for the temporary register storage. And last one is again C register is used for the local variable. Like this, it is going to overlap, and which is mentioned in a curly bracket also. Window 1. Window 3 is mentioned here. So window 1 is here. Window 2 is here. C values are C, all these values, which is used for the overlapping, which is mentioned here by the color I have made, or you can see this register block, which is used for this overlapping way. Like this. Here also overlapping. Here. This block. This block. All these are the overlapping windows which is used for the circular buffer organization of the register. Now, whenever we are using the instead of local variable, global variable in the program, what is going to happen? Which is we are going to see. Now, whenever we are using the global variable, variable declare as a global in a high level programming language, which is we have assignments. For example, C++ programming language, we are declare the global variable. So what is going to happen in that? That global variable declaration in C++ is, what do you mean by this? Can anyone tell? Already you are studying the OOP subject. Global variable declaration in high level language. For example, C++, object oriented programming language. How we can declare the global variable in C++? Can anyone answer? Already in OOP subject, you had studied the access specifier. Before main function, not before main function, within a main function, we can declare the global variable. Or in a class, we can declare the global variable. It is totally depending upon the access specifier, which is used in your C programming, C++ programming language. What do you mean by the access specifier? It will be give the where we can access that particular variables. In that, the in C++, there are three access specifiers are there. First one is private, second one is public, and third one is protected. So what do you mean by the private? If you declare the any variable or any function inside the class, it will be accessed within that class only. That is called as a private variable. Protected means if you declare any variable or any function in that particular class, it will be accessed outside that class if that class is inherited from the base class. That means from the base class, we have created the another child class, then only protected is going to allow. And public is nothing but the, if you declare the particular variable or function as a public, it will be accessed throughout that particular program. That is a public. So here global variable declare as a global, that is nothing but the public, that is in available in the high level programming language, which will be assigned the memory location by the compiler. But all machine instruction that refer to that particular variable use the memory reference operand, because it will be accessed throughout the program. So whenever we are using such global variable frequently to access some data from the memory location, so in that we have to implement some scheme which will be access that data from the memory location. So whatever currently we are having the scheme to access the data from the main memory, which is not sufficient, that is a insufficient scheme is there. So we need to use the to avoid the use of this global variable. So for that, what is the alternative is to incorporate a set of global register in the processor. Sorry. So we have to inform that these are the global register and these are the local registers. That's why in a program always we have used it to very less time we can use the global variable, all global variables. So register in that the registers would be a fix in the number and available to all process. That is going to happen if you use that global register in the processor. And if you unified the number of scheme, that can be used simply for the instruction format. That is a possible in the whenever you are using the global register. Now if there is a if you want to use the more number of global register, that will be increase the hardware burden and accommodate the split in the register addressing. So it will be we need to add into the splitting the register addressing mode. We need to add that. And second thing is that in addition, the linker must be decided which global variable should be assigned to the register. So uh, in a program, uh, first of all, we are compiling the program. We write the some program. For example, dot cpp. That program we are write. So after that program writing, we are save that program. Then compiler will be execute that program. It is going to create the object file. After creating the object file, we need to comes in the existence linker is coming to the existence, which will be link all header file inbuilt function, which is machine inbuilt function, which is used, which will be linked. After linking, that will be loaded into the R program. After loading, that program goes for the execution and it is going to create the exe file. Like this process will be followed. So in that, the linker will be decide the where we want to link that particular assign value to the register. That will be decided. So it is a time consuming task whenever we use the more number of global variables. Now, whenever we are using the characteristics of large register file and the cache organization, what is going to happen? That is explained with the help of this PPT. Difference between the large register file and cache. What is that? The first thing is that large register file is used for the storing data. Cache is also used for the storing data. So what is the difference between these two, which is we can see in terms of the characteristics. First one is that the large registers files, all local scalar processors are used in that large registers file, which is used in a scalar processor. But in recently, the cache memory, in that local scalar variables are used the cache memory. Next one is the large register files uses the individual variable for the each registers to allocate. But here in a cache memory, block of memory is used for the assigning the particular memory location of the cache. Next one is compiler assign a global variable for the large register file. But in a cache memory, recently it is used for the global variables. Cache memories are used. Now, the in a large register file, save and restore based on the procedure nesting path. Means here, save first or restore the content that is based on the procedure which is we have written in the deck. Depending upon that, it will be decided. But here in a cache memory, it is totally based on the cache replacement algorithm, which is used for the storing and saving the content of the content on the cache memory. Next one is in a large register file, register addressing mode is used. But in cache memory, memory addressing mode is used. Next one is large register files. It is going to use the multiple operand address and the access in a one cycle. It is possible. But here in a cache memory, one operand address and access per cycle is required. Now, next one is sys processor. Now, sys processor is nothing but a complex instruction set computer. So, here complex instruction sets are used. It will be used for the large and most complex number of instructions. Mainly two principles reason for this sys processor it is used. It is used for the desire to simplify the compiler. So compiler simplification, this is used. And second thing is it is going to improve the performance of the sys processor because of the complex instruction set. So, what are the advantages of these sys processors are there? In that, first advantage is program task will be required a less memory, and it will be improve the performance. Means few instructions we need to execute in the maybe we need to fetch the less number of instructions. So it is going to reduce the fetching and execution of instruction cycles should be reduced. Second thing is that it is uses in paging environment. So small program occupy the fewer pages and reduce the page fault uh, in the sys processor. And if you use using the more instruction, it is we need to fit into the cache memory. That thing is also possible in the sys processor. Now, what are the characteristics of the reduced instruction set architectures are there, which is mentioned here. First one is the one machine instruction per cycle. That will be one machine is one machine cycle will be required for is register to register operation. That means the loading and store operation will be done by the register to register only, not register to memory. So because of that registers are very fast to store and retrieve data. That's why register to register is used. Then simple addressing modes are used because less number of instructions are there and it will be controlled by the controller. Then simple instruction formats are used for the instruction execution, and instruction length is fixed and which will be aligned with the word boundaries, and it will be decoded depending upon the uh, simultaneous operand occur by that particular instruction. Now we are going to see the next one. As we have seen that the in a RISC processor, register to register addressing the addressing mode, or you can say that the data storage is used. But here on the sys processor, memory to memory register data storage is going to use. So what are the different approaches which is used for the register to register and memory to memory, which is shown here. First thing is memory to memory. So in that memory to memory, it is given that the add B, comma C, comma A. This is given. So B, comma C, that is a B and A and C content will be added, and that result will be stored in the B register, and this instruction is add. So for that, which is mentioned that the total 16-bit addition is done and result is stored in the B register. That is a memory to memory operation will be done. So whatever data is in that particular memory location, it is going to add it and it will be stored here. Now next thing is that whenever we are saying that the first one, the register to memory, first of all we need to load the contents into that particular register. That means first of all A register we need to add the store the content or move the content. Then C register we have to move some content. Then we have to perform the addition. After performing this addition, we need to load the content in a B register. Like these operations, store and load operations we need to perform. That is nothing but the register to memory operations we need to perform here. So simply if you want to use A is equal to B plus C, like these operations if you want to perform, then how it will be done. So first thing is that we have to perform the addition of the two register, and after that addition result will be stored in the third register. So here, if you perform the A, add B, C, A, which is mentioned here. So second thing, add A, C, B. Then third one is subtract B, D, D. Like these operations are mentioned. So how it will be going to work? So first thing is that if you say that here it is mentioned that add A, B plus C. So B plus C result is stored in the A register. So B is equal to A plus C. So A plus C result will be stored in the B register. And here D minus B, that operation is stored in the D register, which is mentioned here. So same thing, if you perform this register A, register B, register C, which is mentioned here, and then addition operation is performed here, that will be here memory to memory operations, which is mentioned here. Here register to register operation is mentioned. Only the R is written here, nothing else. Remaining is same. But here, if you observe that memory to memory operations, whenever register stored and load operations we need to perform, it will be required a 16-bit. But whenever you are using the register to register addition or subtraction operations, only the 4-bit is required for that particular register. That is the difference between these uh, register to register and memory to register operations. So it indicates that it is going to uses the number of bytes executions for the executing that particular instruction register to register is less as compared to the memory to memory. Now, what is the difference between the RISC and CISC processor controversy is there? What is that? Quantitative. In that, first one is compare the program size and execution speed of the program on RISC and CISC processor machines that uses the compatible technology. That is depending upon the compatible technology. Means if you want to you execute the program is simple instructions are there, then you go for the RISC processor. If you are having the complex code, which is we need to execute it for the complex, then you go for the RISC processor. Like this, you can choose the processor and do the task that is required for the performing the some operation. Now, next thing is qualitative controversy is there. Examine issue of high level language support and use of VLSI real estate. So we for whenever you are using the RISC and CISC processor, we first of all observe the high level language support which is provided by with the help of the very large scale integration circuits which is used in a real world that we need to use. Then we need to compare. The next one is problem with the comparison. So first of all, no pair of RS and CISC machines that are compatible in life cycle in terms of the cost, level of technology, gate complexity, sophistication of the compiler, then operating system support. That meaning of this is that we cannot combine the two processors, RISC and CISC processor combinedly, and which will be going to provide this task. It is not available till date. Now, next one is no definitive sets of the test program exist. For that, if you want to perform the comparison between the RISC and CISC processor, we don't have a definite programming program which will exist through which we can check the performance of RISC and CISC. Then next one is Rahul Gupta, please switch off your mic. 67 rule number. Please switch off your mic. 1 minute. Okay. Now Next one is uh, no definitive sets of test program exist. So if you want to test the one program on the both processor, we don't have a definite program for this. That is another challenge or difficulty, we can say that. The next one is difficult to separate the hardware effect on the compiler is there. Next one, whenever comparison is done on the toy other than the commercial product, it is possible. Second thing is when most of the commercial devices advise the RISC processes, which will be a mixture of RISC and CISC characteristics. So RISC processor is used in that. The some characteristics of the CISC processor is also introduced in some commercial project one, but the business product it is not available. Okay, this is the end of your session. Do you have any doubt? Student, any doubt? Okay, most of the groups are today you have to upload the TA2 videos. That's why I'm telling you. Those groups are yet not uploaded the PPT. They can upload the PPT as well as the video. I'm going to assign the mask for those group who had uploaded the PPT, and those who do not want to make a video of their presentation, they can give me a tomorrow presentation. I will schedule the meeting and I will allow you to share this screen where you can give the presentation. Not compulsory. That is up to the students. Those who are who want to upload the video, they cannot give the presentation, and those who are not uploaded, they have to compulsory give the presentation. I'm going to schedule a tomorrow meeting. The where your syllabus is finished here. All 4 units are finished. If you want any topic repetitions, anything, you can tell me. I will. Yes, no problem. From tomorrow, I will take the online presentation, live presentation. Even if I will record the all presentation here from my side, I will allow you to share the screen. Before that, all of you please upload the PPT in Google Classroom. Most of the groups are uploaded. I think 15 to 20 groups are uploaded. Remaining groups, please upload it as soon as possible today. If you upload the PPT from tomorrow, your mass will be calculated out of 4. Today up to 5. Means today for TA2, mass will be calculated out of 5. From tomorrow, it will be calculated from the out of 4. After that, out of 3, like this. You need to first upload the PPT. And then second thing, either upload the video or give the online presentation. That is up to you. Tomorrow again, I will, I think 11:45. I will allow you to share the PPT. Okay, for that I have not made the folder, but in that I have created the event. In that created event, you can share your PPT privately with me, and that can be visible for me. And whenever we are sharing the privately to me, that time turn it on. Use option turn it on, and whenever I am going to handle, I came to know because I not on my email I am getting the notifications who has uploaded the PPT, what time, even in a Google Classroom also it is showing me a time. To that I will roll number, see the roll numbers and allocated the mass. Any doubt? I think most of the students are going for the online video recording of their PPTs, and they are uploading on the Google Classroom. From them, I will directly assign the marks, and those who are only uploaded the PPT, I can consider that they are going to give a tomorrow presentation. And if you want to repeat any topic out of these 4 units, you please tell me so that I will share the according to that PPT and explain you. Your syllabus is finished and your CAE is from the 6th and 7th August. Remember this thing. And after, I think, second week of the August, I'm going to start the online practicals for the OS for the both division. Any doubt? PPT and video both should be uploaded, not only video. Any doubt? Shall I end the session? Okay, thank you.